Hey yo, what's going on? It's Adrian coming at you with another video on the NFL. This one's actually going to be an NFL draft video because the draft is in literally a month from today. It is March 25th, and the draft starts on April 25th. I'm pretty excited. I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot of fun prospects coming out of the college ranks this year, and it's going to be pretty exciting to see some of them. We don't know where. There's a bunch of quarterbacks. We don't know where they're going to go. And the top three are we kind of know, but and there's a bunch of O linemen, a bunch of wide receivers, a couple good corners. Let's just hop right into it. This is also going to be no trades, by the way. First pick of the draft, the Chicago Bears. They got rid of Justin Fields. It is basically guaranteed, I would say, at this point, that they're taking Caleb Williams. Like maybe they'll go with somebody else, but probably not. It's pretty much looking like Caleb Williams for sure, at least in my opinion. And Caleb Williams is nasty. Quarterback out of USC's obvious quarterback one in my opinion. He's elite arm, big play magnet, solid under pressure. He can escape and do damage on the ground. He's accurate. He's a good leader. Comes from the teammates saying he's a good leader. He's some cons, I guess. He's a bit on the shorter side. I think he's 6'1". And USC runs a pretty simple offense out of the shotgun. His mechanics need a little cleaning up, and he has had some fumbling issues. So there's some cons there as well, but he's pretty much the best candidate since Trevor Lawrence. So the Bears are going to be getting somebody really good if they go with him. I think they will. After Caleb Williams, we're going to go with the Commanders at number 2, picking Jaden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU. Now, they could go with Drake May. If Caleb Williams drops, they could definitely go with him. There's rumors about trades. The Commanders are not trade. They got rid of Sam Howell. They're going to pick a quarterback here, and I think it's going to be Jaden Daniels. It could be Drake May. Honestly, it's probably like pretty close to 50-50 between those two, but I'm going with Jaden Daniels right now. He's a very fast dual threat quarterback, Heisman winner out of LSU. He's got a strong arm. His throws can be a bit inconsistent at times and off the mark. And yeah, he needs to put on a little weight. Like, look at that. Look at his body. He's so skinny. It scares me. I mean, maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe he'll be fine and never get hurt in the NFL. I mean, I don't think he got hurt really in college as far as I remember. So maybe he'll be okay, but him taking big hits from the big guys, I just don't like that. So I think he's gonna have to put on a little bit of weight. But overall, great pick for the Commanders, and he should be starting for him day one. Next, at number 3, we got Drake May getting picked by the New England Patriots. This is the pick that a lot of people think apparently might get traded, but I don't see that happening. The Patriots definitely need a quarterback, and with Drake May on the board, I don't see why they wouldn't pick him. Drake May's he's not like a generational candidate, but he's a obvious number one pick. And if Caleb Williams wasn't here, he'd be a possible number one overall pick. So Drake May, quarterback out of North Carolina, he's another dual threat guy. He's got a great arm, one of the better ones. He's accurate. Some of the cons, I guess, he's kind of slow reading defenses. Mm, I don't know. I think he just needs more time. He needs to learn. He needs good coaching. I think that's really it. And then I guess he's not really afraid to sling it into heavy traffic. He will throw picks on the occasion. So those are some cons, but overall he could be a fantastic guy for the Patriots. And with those issues with being able to read defenses maybe or slower progressions, I mean he can sit for most of the year, if not the whole year, behind Jacoby Brissett. They just brought him in, and he's a very good. I think he's a starter capable guy, but he's at least a very good backup. So Drake May could learn a lot from him, and I think he's a good pick for the Pats, honestly, at number 3. I think they'd be fine with that, and I don't think they're going to trade out. Fourth overall, the Arizona Cardinals. Apparently, they've been tied to a bunch of trade rumors right now too. And the GM, was it Monty Ossenfort? He's been talking about possibly like he's like looking through trades and don't rule out us trading back. I think that's all smoke because Marvin Harrison Jr. is literally the best player in this entire draft. And to go in fourth overall, why would the Cardinals trade out of it? Like I get that they have a bunch of holes they need to fill on their roster, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is like a generational receiver. You don't want to skip out on that. in my opinion, he's the easy number one overall wide receiver. And in if quarterback wasn't a position that's so necessary and so needed, Marvin Harrison would be the obvious number one overall pick too. Marvin Harrison Jr., though, out of Ohio State, he's an elite receiver in every aspect. He's fast, he's got sticky hands, he's tall. I mean, like, what are you gonna say against him? Like, he might be able to break more tackles if you want. Like, break more tackles, Marv. I don't know. He like honestly for the Cardinals, I really don't think they're gonna trade out. I think they're gonna pick Marvin Harrison Jr. and he could be like the next Larry Legend in Arizona, Larry Fitz. He's gonna be nasty. Just stay and pick him, Cardinals. You're crazy if you don't. Next, fifth overall, the almost said San Diego, the Los Angeles Chargers. They've been there for a while now. Get it in your head, Adrian. The LA Chargers, though, I have them picking a receiver. They got rid of like all their receivers basically. All they have is what the rookie from last year from TCU, Johnson. He's not. He didn't do good at all last year. So I think they're definitely going to pick a receiver here. It's going to be between Malik Nabers and Rome Odunze. And I just think Malik Nabers right now is going to be the perfect pick here because Malik Nabers out of LSU, he's a speedy receiver, very fast. He's great at route running, like probably better route running than Marvin Harrison Jr. Honestly, and Marvin Harrison's got damn good route running. Malik Nabers can play in the outside or in the slot. He's dynamic with the ball after the catch. He just needs to learn some more routes for outside play if they stick him out there. That's like his only con basically that I can think of. He'd be a very good replacement for Mike Williams, and like Chargers, you can't go wrong with either of the receivers. But Malik Nabers, perfect pick for you here, and Justin Herbert would absolutely thrive with Malik Nabers on the roster. I honestly think Malik Nabers would be better than Keenan Allen, old Keenan Allen, young Keenan Allen. We can argue, but Malik Nabers looks like a number one receiver. He's a beast. Next, we got the New York Giants at 6 overall. I think they're sticking and picking as well. Some people have talked about them trading down. I mean, their GM, Joe Schoen, he does like to trade, so I guess I can't rule that out. But they need a receiver bad. They literally have not had a good receiver, a good number one overall receiver since Odell Beckham Jr. back in 2018. That is bad. You cannot win without good receivers. Well, I guess the Chiefs kind of disproved that this year. But still, for the most part, other than Pat Mahomes and like Tom Brady, basically, you can't win without good receivers, okay? So I have him taking Rome Odunze, receiver out of Washington. He is a big target. He can catch over any defenders. He's a good route runner, too. He's good after the catch. He's not really going to outrun anybody, especially NFL corners. And he needs to be a little more aggressive against pressure. But with the Giants, he would instantly become the best wide receiver on the team, and since OBJ, most likely. He has been an absolute beast, and Michael Penix Jr. absolutely loved him in Washington. He very much so helped out that offense, and now, if the Giants can pick him, he's going to help out their offense too. I think, like, if the Chargers pick Odunze over Nabers, and the Giants pick Nabers. Like, that's base. I think the receivers are going to go 1, 2, 3 here, barring a trade up from like the Vikings or the Broncos. I don't see that. I really do think this first 6 are going to stay, but we'll see. We'll see. Anything could happen. Next, at number 7 overall, the Titans. This one I feel like is pretty obvious too. The Titans select Joe Alt, the tackle out of Notre Dame. He's the best tackle in the class. Some people can argue for Latham or maybe somebody else, but Joe Alt, in my opinion, he is no doubt the best tackle in this class. He should be good, maybe not great, but very good and an instant starter for the Titans at left tackle. Easy pick, make it Tennessee. Next, at number 8, we have the Falcons. This one's also pretty easy. Dallas Turner out of Alabama, the edge rusher. Great production, a little small for the position, but the Falcons defense, he can be turned into a star on that defense. The Falcons are all set on offense, honestly, in my opinion. They have legit possible stars everywhere for Kirk Cousins. That defense needs to get fleshed out a little more. Dallas Turner, you could be the star there. I think that's going to be a perfect fit. 9 overall. This one is probably my first controversial pick here. The Bears again. Now, they could definitely trade down from here. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Broncos try to jump the Vikings or if the Vikings get scared and try to trade up with the Bears. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that happens. Or even like the Steelers coming up or somebody else we'll talk about later. But The Bears, if they stick and pick here, I think they're probably going to go defense. They could go somewhere else, but I think defense is a very likely option. And honestly, it's between Laiatu Latu and Jared Verse. You can make arguments for either one. I'm going to make my argument right here for Laiatu Latu. Edge rusher out of UCLA. He is the best edge rusher of this class. Don't get it wrong. He is the best edge rusher of this class. He's got fantastic ability to get to the quarterback, and he does get to the quarterback. He takes him down. He gets a lot of sacks, and he's very productive. In any draft, he would be in the first round. But his issue is the other year he had a near career-ending injury on his neck, and he had to transfer schools to UCLA just to be able to get another option that said he could still play. So that is definitely going to scare some teams off, because you don't want to draft a guy in the first round and then in the preseason or something he breaks his neck and he's done for the career. That's definitely going to scare some teams off. But the Bears could draft this guy, and just imagine Laiatu Latu and Montez Sweat staring you down on the defense. That is a dangerous duo, and I think the Bears would love to have both of them destroying the quarterback day in and day out. The Bears have been making their offense like really good for Caleb Williams. If they get Latu, that's just whoa. So I think that's a good pick. I know a lot of people are probably going to disagree because of that injury and maybe make some other options here, but that's what I'm going with. At 10 overall, we got the New York Jets. This is also a somewhat controversial pick, but the Jets are clearly going all in this year for Aaron Rodgers. They want to try to get to the Super Bowl. And Brock Bowers out of Georgia will definitely help with that. He is a pretty big tight end, a great receiving target for Aaron Rodgers. He would be an instant star. His issue is that he's not great at blocking, I suppose. But honestly, a lot of the really good tight ends these days don't have to block as much anyway. I don't know. You could argue with that, but Brock Bowers, I think, would be a fantastic pick for the Jets here. And I think in my head, it just makes more sense that they would go with a big target. Now, someone else that I think they definitely could pick is like Olu Fashanu, or maybe another left tackle or right tackle type candidate, because they do probably want to try to fix the line even more. They got a couple possible replacements in there right now, but I don't be surprised at all if they take a tackle. But I'm going with Brock Bowers. Now at 11 overall, we have the Minnesota Vikings. A lot of people think they're going to trade up. They definitely could. I'm not doing trades in this one though, and honestly, I think if they do stick at 11, they'll still have a good chance to get this guy. And I think this is who they're trying to get with their trade up from the Texans earlier. So Vikings pick J.J. McCarthy, quarterback out of Michigan. He won the Natty with Jim Harbaugh. Nutmeg, hello. Do you need something? He won the Natty under Jim Harbaugh for Michigan this year. And honestly, J.J. McCarthy, he's pretty good in like every category pretty much. But he can also like improve in every category as well. He's a good runner. He's got a good arm. He just needs a good coach to help his like decision making, in my opinion, and to really get him through. He's pretty young. He hasn't seen all that much action, and he'd probably do good to sit for a little bit under somebody. I guess the Vikings have Sam Darnold. I don't know if that's a great option, but why not throw? Yeah, they'd have like a battle between Sam Darnold and JJ McCarthy. Sam Darnold could win it. I could see him winning it, and then like 6 games in, they replace him with JJ McCarthy or whatever. I don't know. JJ McCarthy, he's either going to be really good or he's going to be like okay or a great backup, basically. Not sure with JJ. Anything could happen. At 12 overall, this one is going to probably turn some heads too, but the Denver Broncos, I think, are not going to be getting out of this draft without a possible number 1 quarterback, in my opinion. And Bo Nix out of Oregon just makes the most sense to me for this Broncos offense. Now, they definitely could go somewhere else because this is definitely a reach. Like, don't get it wrong, this is definitely a reach for Bo Nix. I do think he could be a first-round pick. More likely, you'd want to get him in the second round, but quarterbacks, like every year, somebody reaches for a quarterback, basically. So this is what I see happening. The Broncos take Bo Nix. He's good in the pocket. He's got a solid arm. He can tuck and run if he needs to. Everything just seems like he's a perfect QB type for Sean Payton and a Sean Payton-led offense. So I think it's a perfect match for him. And I think he would honestly thrive as long as Sean Payton can get everything set up right for him. He could be his little Drew Brees wannabe over there in Denver. I do like Bo Nix though, and I think that he would be a solid, almost Kirk Cousins type maybe type quarterback for the Broncos if they did pick him here. Now, if they don't go quarterback, they could go a multitude of different ways as well. I think the most obvious option maybe might be like Jared Verse for him, but I'm going with Bo Nix. At 13 overall, the Las Vegas Raiders. They could also go a couple different ways, but they have holes right now at right guard and right tackle. They lost their right tackle, and the right guard is still a free agent. So I think this makes the most sense to me. Telis Fuaga out of Oregon State. Listen, Fuaga, like he could drop a little further than this, but I love this guy. He is a mean brute. He mauls people on that O line, and he would perfectly fit an Antonio Pierce led team. Antonio Pierce wants mean guys, and I love Antonio Pierce, and I think he would love Fuaga. Now, Fuaga could switch to guard in the NFL, but I do think he will be given an opportunity to win the right tackle job in camp if the Raiders pick him. And I think he would win it. I love Fuaga. Did I say that yet? Now, the Raiders could also pick somebody else, like maybe Terrion Arnold or another corner. But Fuaga, I love that pick for the Raiders. I think he is a Raider. Like, look at him in that picture. He looks like a Raider. Just make his jersey black. Like, that is a Raider right there. Are you kidding me? Next, next we have at 14 overall, we got the New Orleans Saints. They go a couple different ways as well, but I have them taking Olu Fashanu out of Penn State. He is a solid left tackle for the NFL. His issues are that he kind of lacks a mean streak, mean streak. He's like the opposite of Fuaga, right? He's a big dude that's not mean. Fuaga's like a slightly smaller dude that's mean as hell. But anyway, Olu Fashanu lacks a mean streak, and he can get beat every now and then around the edge. He's a little slower to turn. But the Saints taking Olu Fashanu, I think he would start over Trevor Penning there at left tackle immediately. Penning's been a major bust. I know they say that they still want to give him a chance, but Fashanu, I think, would be better than him out the gate, so why not take him? Next, at 15 overall, the Indianapolis Colts pick Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. Colts need a corner bad, and Quinyon Mitchell, in my opinion, is the best corner in the draft. I mean, you can make an argument for a couple other guys. One specifically other guy. But Quinyon Mitchell, fantastic product who may be a bit raw, but he has the size, the speed, and the turnover ability to be an absolute stud and turn a weak corner room into one of the more intriguing ones. With Julius Brents on the other side, Branson Mitchell could turn the Colts into like a mediocre corner room to a very good corner room in the span of a few months, all right? So we'll see if they do it. They could pick, I think if Brock Bowers falls this far, the Colts could also take him maybe, but Quinyon Mitchell I think would be a great pick for him. Next, at 16 overall, the Seattle Seahawks. I have them picking Troy Fautanu out of Washington. I have seen Seahawks fans like kind of rolling their eyes at this one, but I don't know why. Fautanu seems like a really good prospect to me. He's a little shorter, which means he could move to guard in the NFL, I suppose. But if the Seahawks pick this guy, he could compete with Abraham Lucas at right tackle and possibly beat him out, or he could straight up take over the right guard spot out the gate and then maybe get moved to right tackle if he can prove himself at that point. So I don't know why you wouldn't want a good starting O lineman, but Troy Fautanu, I think he's a great pick for the Seahawks for me. Now, they could also go defense. I know the Seahawks are trying to build their defense back up to like the boom from back in the day. So they could go like Quinyon Mitchell or Terrion Arnold or maybe one of the like Jared Verse if he's here. But I just think Troy Fautanu just makes a lot of sense for the Seahawks. So I think that is going to be the pick. 17 overall, the Jaguars. This might be the most obvious pick in the draft, honestly. You can make a few arguments for that, but this one, it just makes too much sense to me. Jaguars take Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. Arnold was in line to be the first corner drafted. He's very talented, but he struggled at the combine in the drills. And he lacks a little speed as well to stick with some of the faster receivers, I suppose. But he still projects to be a solid starter for a Jaguars D that's lacking at the corner position. He's he's a sticky corner. He will stay with you in man, and the Jaguars would absolutely love to have this guy. They'd love to have Quinyon Mitchell too if Mitchell's here. Either one of them, I think the Jags would take. I don't think the Jags I don't see the Jags taking anyone else. If these two are both available, I don't see them taking anyone else. They need a corner bad. Next, 18 overall, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. This one, some of you that follow might argue for a different person. I get it. But let me explain. The Bengals take Amarius Mims out of Georgia. He's a massive blocker with the raw talent to be one of the best tackles in the league. No, seriously, in the league. He's got that much potential, in my opinion. He could also end up busting, though, if he's not with the right coaching staff. The Bengals, I think, have a good coaching staff. Now, year one, he's probably going to be a swing tackle while he learns behind Trent Brown, but that's a good thing. Amarius Mims, you can make a case for J.C. Latham. J.C. Latham's dropping in my draft right now. A lot of people think he could even be taken by the Titans, right? But Amarius Mims just is more talented, in my opinion, than J.C. Latham, or he has the potential to be. So I see the Bengals as seeing a guy with this much talent and being like, okay, we want this guy. He could be our right tackle or left tackle for like the next decade if we coach him up right. So I think this is a great fit for the Bengals, and that's why I made it. They could also go with like somebody like Byron Murphy, big D tackle, or maybe a few other guys, receiver maybe even. But this is what I have, and I think it's like perfect for the Bengals. So Marius Mims. Next, the LA Rams. This is where I have Byron Murphy going out of Texas. Byron Murphy, like, look at the guy. He is a tank. He's like a perfect replacement to try and fill the massive shoes of Aaron Donald, who just retired. He's smaller and he's a very strong interior rusher. He's basically Aaron Donald. Like obviously he's not Aaron Donald, right? Aaron Donald's potentially one of the best. He is one of the best D tackles to ever play the game, right? So you can't make this comparison yet, but looks wise and play style wise, Byron Murphy is in theory Aaron Donald. Now, will he get to that level? Probably not, but he will be a very good D tackle, and he should start immediately for the Rams if they pick him. Next, at 20 overall, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is where I have J.C. Latham landing out of Alabama. The Steelers are infatuated with this guy. I've seen multiple reports that the Steelers are considering trading up to make sure they land J.C. Latham. Now, will that actually happen? Are they blowing smoke up people's asses? I don't know, but I think it's a possibility, and I think that they do really like J.C. Latham. He is a massive man with the potential to be a difference maker at right tackle specifically. That is why I think he's going to drop, by the way. Right tackle specifically. This man has never played left tackle spots, and he will not play left tackle. He's a right tackle. He's very raw, and he could do with a little coaching to become all he can be. But this is a great pick for the Steelers because drafting J.C. Latham will allow them to keep Broderick Jones at left tackle where he belongs. And J.C. Latham can stay at the right tackle spot. And I think that is a dangerous duo at tackle. They would be set up for the next decade. I said that already about somebody else, but seriously, the Steelers would be set up with the net for the next decade if J.C. Latham hits and they got Broderick Jones on the left side. Perfect pick. They could also go. I see a lot of people saying that they're going to take like a receiver. Brian Thomas Jr. maybe would be a good pick here, yeah, I could see them doing that. Honestly, I kind of think the Steelers might be kicking rocks this year with Russell Wilson at quarterback, and they're just kind of taking a bullet here. But beefing up the O line would be a perfect start to try to build back up. Next, at 21 overall, we got the Miami Dolphins. There's a few guys they could take. Now, honestly, they're definitely going to be looking at O line. But Jared Verse has been falling rapidly in this draft. Jared Verse could go up in the top 10. So I got to have somebody stop his fall. And the Miami Dolphins, I think, would be fine with being the guys that do it. Jared Verse out of Florida State, stays in Florida. He could be the first defender off the board. But he could also drop, like I said, due to he is an older candidate, and he's had some inconsistencies in his game tape. The Dolphins, in theory, like I said, they should take O-line, maybe D-line here, but Jared Verse could be huge for them if he does fall to this position. So, and they need to replace some, like Christian Wilkins. I know he's not a D-tackle, but Christian Wilkins had a lot of production that Jared Verse could help replace. So, I don't know. I see that as a good spot for him. They could take somebody else like maybe Graham Barton or Jackson Powers Johnson, maybe. One of those O linemen, because their O line is like desperate after losing some players and not being that great to begin with. But anyway, let's move to the Philadelphia Eagles. This is another one that was a really easy pick for me. They take Nate Wiggins out of Clemson. Wiggins is the fastest and best cover corner in this draft. Fastest and best cover corner. He's a beast. Nate Wiggins is a beast, and I hate the Eagles, so this would be very upsetting for me if they do pick him up. But I think there's a good chance that it happens. He needs his like issues that he needs to work on his run defense, protecting the edge, and he also needs to add some weight on his frame. He's a smaller guy. And I suppose he has some character concerns, but I don't think Philly's really going to care about that. It's Philly. Come on now. He should immediately compete with James Bradbury to start the season, and by the end of the year, I think he would be a stud in that backfield. Yeah, Nate Wiggins. They could also go with Cooper DeJean. He's another corner they could go with, but Nate Wiggins is a beast. I don't see him falling past 22 with the Eagles. At 23 overall, we got the Minnesota Vikings. They could trade this pick away. We don't know what they're planning yet, but since I'm not making trades here, I have them taking Johnny Newton out of Illinois. Johnny Newton's a very talented D tackle prospect that could be a great contributor with the right coaching. He does need to work on his run stopping a bit, but he is a great pass rusher coming from the inside. He should be able to help Grenard and Van Ginkel get to the quarterback to help replace some production, and I think Johnny Newton could help from the inside. Will he start immediately? He could. He could. Their D tackles they have right now are really good at stopping the run. They don't have anybody that can really get to the quarterback, though. So I think they could have Johnny Newton go in there, at least here and there, maybe even just a third down type guy to start off with. But he'd be pretty good with the Vikings, I think, for that defense. So Johnny Newton to the Vikings. Next, we got the Dallas Cowboys. This is like a very easy pick as well since he's here. They picked Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon. He is like the perfect center prospect to replace Biadasz. And I think the Cowboys are taking an O lineman, and he's arguably the best one available, and he'd start immediately for him. So Jackson Powers Johnson to the Cowboys. Next, we got the Green Bay Packers. This is probably another bit of a controversial one, but let me explain. They take Jordan Morgan out of Arizona. He is a good tackle with a lot of experience under his belt. And honestly, Jordan Morgan just kind of seems like a Green Bay kind of guy to me. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but just his name, Jordan Morgan, that sounds like a Packer, doesn't it? So so I think Jordan Morgan could come in and immediately start at the left tackle, or at least battle for it. I know they have a guy that they have a little bit of faith in that's been replacing Bakhtiari, but Jordan Morgan can fight him and replace Bakhtiari. He's never going to be like a great left tackle, probably, but he's always going to be a good one. So Jordan Morgan out of Arizona to the Packers. At 26 overall, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They could go a couple different ways as well. I have them going with Chop Robinson out of Penn State. He's a smaller guy, so that hurts his draft stock, which is why he's dropping, but he was very productive in college. Plus, listen, the Bucks took a smaller guy last year in Kalijah Kancey, so I don't think they would really care too much to pair Chop Robinson in that backfield with Yaya Diaby to harass quarterbacks next year. That's a pretty good pairing right there. And along with Kalijah Kancey too on the other side, or in the middle. Yeah, either way, those three I think would be a solid group for the Buccaneers to really have that defense humming. They could go with somebody like Cooper DeJean too. I'm going to mention him a few more times. The Packers could even go with Cooper DeJean. I like Cooper DeJean, but he's fallen here. Well, this is around where he would go. He's not really fallen. Anyway, next we go to the Arizona Cardinals' second pick at 27 overall. They're taking Graham Barton out of Duke. He is a nasty player that can make the move to inside in the NFL. He could really play anywhere on the line for the Cardinals. And the Cardinals, honestly, they could move Graham Barton to center. Their current guy is okay, but they could use an upgrade or they could even bump him out to guard. Either way, Graham Barton would be a fantastic pick for an Arizona Cardinals team that is kind of like revamping their offense right now. I do think that they could also go with somebody else like maybe Kool-Aid McKinstry, but Graham Barton, you could even consider this a reach for Graham Barton, but I like Graham Barton and I think this would be a good pick for the Arizona Cardinals. At 28 overall, we got the Buffalo Bills. I think they're taking a receiver, though. They could go a couple different ways, but Brian Thomas Jr. is still available, and he's you could take Brian Thomas Jr. at like 16 overall, somewhere like that. So this is a good spot for him. The Bills would be happy to have him. I think he's a great Gabe Davis replacement. Brian Thomas out of LSU. He's fast. He's strong. He's aggressive. He's a vertical threat. His route running does need a bit of work, and he will drop the occasional ball. But I think he's a great number 2 option and has a lot of potential if he's next to Stephon Diggs out there in Buffalo. I think Josh Allen would be absolutely ecstatic if they picked up Brian Thomas Jr. in this draft. They could go with somebody else, like maybe a Xavier Worthy type guy, or defense, I suppose. But Brian Thomas Jr. being here just makes too much sense. So he is a Buffalo Bill. Next, at 29 overall, we got the Detroit Lions. They could go a couple different ways too, but I have them taking Keon Coleman out of Florida State. He's a big target. He's quick, and he's got number 1 receiver potential. He would be a fantastic option next to the sun god himself, Amon-Ra. And honestly, Keon Coleman at 1 and Amon-Ra just going crazy out of the slot. Like, that is a dream for this Lions team, for Jared Goff. I think he'd be a great fit here. And listen, Keon Coleman might not be one of the biggest names in this draft at wide receiver, but if he gets picked by the Lions and playing next to Amon-Ra, you're going to know who he is next year. Bet on that. They could take somebody like a corner as well. They do need some corner help, so Kool-Aid McKinstry or Cooper DeJean are options here. But Keon Coleman, I just really think they should fall in love with this guy. You can make an argument for like Adonai Mitchell too, but I just think Keon Coleman would be a perfect Detroit Lion. Next, Baltimore Ravens. I got them taking the guy I just mentioned, Adonai Mitchell, out of Texas. You could definitely make an argument that they should take an O-lineman. Their O-line has been absolutely decimated in free agency. So, keep names in mind like Graham Barton or Tyler Guyton, maybe a couple other guys there, but they also need receiver help. They also need defensive help. Like, the Ravens kind of scare me coming into next year. They lost so many pieces. Like, I get they got a really good running back, but they lost a lot of production in other positions. But if they take Adonai Mitchell out of Texas here, he is a big target, and he would be a solid option for Lamar Jackson in the red zone specifically. Adonai Mitchell can get up there. I'm kind of not big on Adonai Mitchell as a prospect. I think I just have a feeling he's kind of going to bust a little bit, which is unfortunate if he does, especially for Baltimore, who's just been struggling to find receiving help. But he might be the number 1 overall guy there. He might be Lamar's best friend out there. Who knows? I got him going to the Ravens, though. At 31 overall, we are almost done. We got the San Francisco 49ers, the Super Bowl losers, unfortunately. I have them taking Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. They could take a couple different guys, too. Like Cooper DeJean's still on the board. He's still falling. But Tyler Guyton, he is a big guy with a lot of potential. If they draft him here at 31 overall, he could compete with McKivitz to start immediately at right tackle. I like McKivitz, to be honest, so I feel like McKivitz could definitely win that, but I know a lot of people don't, so... and the 49ers have been rumored to be doing their homework on these tackles in this draft, so... I think it's a pretty okay pick, I don't know. And last overall, definitely not least, we have the Kansas City Chiefs at 32. And I absolutely loathe this pick. I hate it. I hate this pick. I was talking to my buddy Fred about it the other day. If Xavier Worthy falls to the Chiefs, I'm going to be absolutely pissed. Because I think they're going to take him. Xavier Worthy out of Texas. He is the fastest man alive. He broke the combine record for the 40. He is ridiculously fast, and he's very dangerous with the ball. And he's also good at route running. Like, he's got, like, all of it. He's just a little smaller, so maybe he's not going to get the ball in traffic over a bunch of people. But, like, dude, if they get Xavier Worthy, that's basically, like, the end. It's over for the league. They got Hollywood Brown in free agency. If they get Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown, they're going to be dusting everybody. They already got Travis Kelce. Like, that is a friggin' ridiculous trio right there if they can get him. Now, they do need or want O-line help, so Tyler Guyton, if he's available, they could take him. Their left tackle spot is currently wide open. So we'll see what they do here. But if Xavier Worthy's available, I'd be like kind of shocked if the Chiefs didn't pick him up. I hope somebody else takes him, like the Bills. Xavier Worthy scares me. Um, there's other players of note. Michael Penix Jr. could potentially go in the first. Xavier Leggett, good receiver. Lad McConkey. Jermaine Burton's got character concerns dropping him. Kingsley Suamatea, Penny Sewell's cousin. He's a big dude. Zach Frazier out of WU, great center. Chris Jenkins, solid nose tackle. Darius Robinson, another solid D tackle. Got a good Senior Bowl. Michael Hall Jr., he's fast D tackle. A lot of good D tackles that probably will go at the top of the second. Another guy, Tavondre Sweat out of Texas, huge guy. Edrin Cooper, linebacker candidate if somebody wants to get cute. Kool-Aid McKinstry and Cooper DeJean, I mentioned both of them. And then, of course, Kamari Lassiter, another good first-round target that could get there for people looking for a corner. But yeah, that wraps it up for me. That was my mock draft. Probably the first one. I might do another one. I'm not sure yet. Like right before the. I probably will. Because I like doing this stuff. It's fun. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about my picks. If you disagree with them, if you like them. Like I'm a Giants fan. I absolutely love Rome Odunze, so I'd be totally ecstatic if they got him. Maybe if you're like a Packer fan, you're like, what are we doing with Jordan Morgan? What the heck? Let me know. Let me know what you think. But thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.